It's safe to assume that nobody could have predicted that Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg would one day have a TV show together, or that the two would have such natural chemistry. Here's the scoop on how Martha Stewart really feels about her TV co-star Snoop. Martha Stewart first met Snoop Dogg in 2008, when he was a guest on her daytime series The Martha Stewart Show. As you can see, the seemingly polar opposites actually got along swimmingly from the very start, displaying a funny, easy rapport that made the segment a joy to watch. Years later, Martha looked back at their first joint TV appearance during an interview with Today's Harry Smith.
What an odd couple we were.
Well, we fit right in, cooking with Martha, it just seemed like the right space to be in.
Examining their relationship from a big picture point of view, Martha sees her friendship with Snoop as a template that can be followed to help larger societal divisions. Stewart told The Hollywood Reporter, "The melding of cultures is really what I want to see happen in the United States, and so does Snoop. There shouldn't be any divides. There shouldn't be any question that we can all get together and get along. There shouldn't be any discrimination." When it comes time for Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg to enter the kitchen and get cooking, there can only be one captain on that particular ship. Snoop told Entertainment Weekly, "Do what Martha says. That's the rule in the kitchen. We like to get taught like that." In fact, Snoop compared Martha's ownership of the kitchen to his own mastery when recording music. "If I was in the studio, this is what I do in the studio. I direct and I lead, and this is her studio. So I expect her to take the lead and show me where I need to be." Rapper Remy Ma, a guest on their show, explained to EW why she thought the pairing of Martha and Snoop was so ideal. "Snoop Dogg has the munchies. Who else better to make your best friend than Martha Stewart?" By all accounts, the affection that Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg show for each other isn't an act they play up for the cameras.
I love Martha like I love her, like for real.
Martha feels the same way, and in 2018 invited Snoop and his crew for lunch at her famed farm in Bedford, New York. As she wrote on her blog, Snoop Dogg and 5 members of his gang stopped by the farm on their way to an event in New York City. While a fine time was had by all, Martha admitted in an interview with Talk Stoop with Nessa that Snoop did have an issue with some of her animals.
And he got scared of the horses. They were bigger than he was. He's usually taller than most horses.
It was Martha Stewart's hilarious rapport with Snoop Dogg during Comedy Central's roast of Justin Bieber that led to their partnership on Martha and Snoop's Potluck Dinner Party. As viewers will recall, Martha absolutely slayed in her brutally hilarious takedown of the Canadian pop prince, hitting a few of her fellow roasters as comedic collateral damage along the way. Sitting down with Seth Meyers on Late Night, Martha offered a pretty compelling argument about why she was extra funny that night.
Secondary smoke is just as powerful as primary smoke.
Sure.
So I was totally high by
As Martha recounted for the New York Times, during the time they sat together on the stage, Snoop must have smoked 10 giant fat blunts, and I inhaled all that smoke. I felt really good. Thanks to that contact high, she admitted, "I don't remember my performance at the roast, but it was very successful." While Martha certainly enjoys spending time hanging out with Snoop, she has consistently refused to join her TV co-host in indulging in his favorite pastime. This, she explained, is why there's one area on the set of Martha and Snoop's Potluck Dinner Party that she has made it a point to avoid. Stewart said in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, "I made a pact early on doing this show that I would never enter Snoop's domain, his trailer. I've never gone as far as the first steps into his trailer. All the guests go into his trailer, by the way." However, Martha clarified that just because she doesn't intend to get stoned with Snoop doesn't mean it doesn't occasionally happen. Inadvertently, of course. "I get kind of high from secondary smoke. I'm not a smoker myself." When Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg enter the kitchen together, the rapper is well aware of who's the boss when it comes to that aspect of their relationship. However, Martha has also expressed her admiration for some of the dishes that Snoop creates. As Martha explained, she tries to avoid having any preconceived notions of what Snoop can and can't do in the kitchen. Martha went even further with her praise in an interview with Today, admitting, "I actually like to watch him cook. I mean, he's so particular, his little tiny bits of this and that, and it all finally comes together." One thing Martha Stewart has come to appreciate about Snoop's personality is that he's definitely one old dog who can learn some new tricks. Stewart told Us Weekly, "Snoop comes to me for just techniques and cooking, and he learns really quickly. I was surprised about that. I thought maybe he'd be a klutz, but he is not a klutz at all." For his part, Snoop humbly gives Martha full credit for his ever-expanding culinary skills. If he ever does manage to impress Martha with a dish he whips up, he's well aware that it's probably because Martha showed him how to do it. He told Us Weekly, "I'm such a virgin to this, Martha's breaking me in. She's taking her time and she's really molding me into the chef that I want to be." While Martha Stewart has imparted a lot of her know-how on Snoop Dogg, this has proven to be a two-way street. In an interview with Artful Living, Martha detailed some of the ways that he shared his own experience with her. "Snoop has taught me so much about music and culture that I would never be privy to otherwise. He is extremely knowledgeable, laid back, smart, and a good businessman. We have a lot of fun together." Speaking with The Washington Post, Martha opened up about how Snoop had expanded her sonic horizons. "I've learned a lot about music from Snoop and our guests." Martha Stewart celebrated her 79th birthday in August 2020, while Snoop Dogg turned 48 in October of that same year. Despite a gap of more than 3 decades, Martha admitted that age has never been an issue between them. In fact, as she revealed in an interview with Global News, she actually thought that Snoop was quite a bit older than his actual age. "He's a lot younger than you think he is. I just thought he was like 60, like an old man. He's only 45 or something like that, and he's already a grandfather, so we have that in common. He loves his grandchildren. He's a very intelligent, very fantastic musician, very knowledgeable, and a lot more sophisticated than he comes across." Meanwhile, in an interview with Talk Stoop with Nessa, Martha dropped another revelation about Snoop.
He doesn't eat too much.
Right.
He smokes a lot, but he doesn't eat too much.
Despite Martha Stewart's refusal to light up with Snoop Dogg, don't for a second think that she's uptight when it comes to his prodigious pot smoking. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter in 2018, Martha insisted that she's never been a prude when it comes to Snoop's considerable cannabis consumption. "So, someone smokes marijuana? Big deal. People smoke cigarettes and die from cancer. I haven't heard of anybody dying from cannabis. I'm quite egalitarian and liberal when it comes to stuff like that." At that time, Martha admitted that she was actually considering getting into the marijuana business herself and pointed to some cannabis-related opportunities that had crossed her path. "I've been asked to design recipes and even ointments, healthy ointments for humans as well as for animals like cats and dogs. I've had 2 companies recently in my office bringing in very interesting ointments, rubs and massage creams. I totally believe in that as a supplement to everyday good living." In 2019, Martha Stewart followed through on her interest in getting into the cannabis biz, when she and Canadian marijuana grower Canopy Growth announced that they had entered a partnership that would see Stewart develop hemp-derived CBD products for animals. Speaking with Forbes, Martha credited Snoop Dogg for putting her in contact with the company, with which he was already in business. The thought here was, since my interest lies in animals and beauty, that it would be an advisory position in the CBD arena through a licensing agreement I will personally oversee. By the following year, Martha had expanded her product line to humans, including a CBD pâté de fruit. She said in a 2020 interview with the New York Times, "I pop 20 of them and just feel okay, but some of my friends do too and feel high." For Martha, getting into the increasingly lucrative CBD business is right in line for someone who has long considered herself to be an early adopter of what's new. While Martha Stewart has admitted her reluctance to light up a spliff with Snoop Dogg, she's been known to mix up a cocktail or two for her co-star on Martha and Snoop's potluck dinner party. As Snoop admitted to Us Weekly, "She gets me drunk every chance she gets." It's a charge that Martha does not deny. In an interview with Town & Country, she said, "I'm the cocktail mistress of the Martha and Snoop show. I make up all the cocktails and I feed them to Snoop, who's not really a drinker, so he gets totally drunk off of them." Snoop concurred, telling The Washington Post that he'd get hammered whenever an episode featured Martha whipping up cocktails. "Every episode I was drunk. Every one." However, he also explained that the liquor loosened him up in a way that proved to be beneficial for the show. The lines become that much more easier, the flow becomes natural. It's more relaxing. You're not doing a job, you're just having fun. Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg aren't just co-stars, they genuinely like each other. Sally Ann Solsano, one of the producers of Martha and Snoop's potluck dinner party, told CBS Sunday Morning they are actual friends. Regardless of how genuine the relationship is, Martha is also a savvy enough businesswoman to realize how much her association with the gin and juice rapper has expanded her own fan base. Martha told CBS Sunday Morning, "It's good for the brand. Oh, I'm so famous now. When I'm seen, everybody says hello to me, and I'm Martha to everyone. First name basis. I know how Oprah must feel because she's a first name also, and it's nice." In fact, Martha credits the partnership with Snoop for increasing her fame. She told The Hollywood Reporter, "The show has expanded my demographic exponentially. When I walk down the street now, every truck driver knows who I am. If I go through Harlem, every single guy on the street corner knows who I am." Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite celebrity chefs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.